What a week in WWE, man. What a week. Not necessarily a good week. It's not necessarily a good week. A lot of illogical booking, a lot of stupidity with the WWE draft. We talked about it on SmackDown with the post show right here on Off the Script. But we have one more night of the WWE draft. Night 2. I got all the news and rumors surrounding everybody potentially moving to a different brand on Monday Night Raw. We're going to go over what those moves are. We're going to go over why WWE split up the New Day. We're going to go over Mustafa Ali and him joining Retribution. When did WWE decide on putting Mustafa Ali in Retribution so far as the leader of Retribution? I'll give you one hint. I mentioned it on Monday Night Raw during the post show. Was it all along in the plans, or was it something that happened in the last 2 weeks? Your guess. I'll give you which one. Also, we got news on Tessa Blanchard. Her name is starting to come up a lot more lately. Where is she going to end up? What is the status of WWE? Are they in negotiations with Tessa Blanchard? And if they are, where is she going? I'll give you my opinion on if she does end up with the E, where she should go, and it's not the main roster. This is episode 346 of the best fucking podcast in the entire IWC. You're watching Off the Script, your number one stop for all the draft coverage heading into Monday Night Raw. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We are live on YouTube. We're going to hit the introduction after this beautiful guitar solo. And we'll be right back with episode 346 of Off the Script. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on episode 346 of Off the Script. It is Sunday, October 11th, 2020. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to get into today. Now, the reason why I'm live, normally I don't do these things live. Normally I pre-record them and then they go up on the weekend. It just gives me a little bit more of control over what I do on the podcast. But I wasn't feeling well yesterday, man. I just felt fatigued, and I honestly think it has to do with a couple of factors. One, the weather. The weather hasn't been all that great where I am. Number two, I have been playing a lot of the Black Ops Cold War beta, and I actually did a live stream on Twitch a couple of nights ago, and we did nearly 13 hours straight And I just kind of fucked up my sleep schedule. I fucked up my eating schedule. And I wanted to really dive into the game. And unfortunately, I didn't do myself any good by doing that because I was very sleep deprived and I put off most of the work that I had all weekend. And I feel a lot better today. And that's why we're live. And I figured instead of sitting here and just kind of, just mulling around and doing the show like I usually do pre-recorded, I said, you know what? The draft is big enough. And going into Monday Night Raw, it's going to be a talked about episode of Monday Night Raw for the first time in like forever. So I might as well come on here live and hang out with you guys and just do what I got to do as far as news and rumors goes going into Monday Night Raw. So that's exactly what we are doing here today on Off the Script. So I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. Let's get some people in here, man. Hit that thumbs up if you can. I would love if we can get to the goal today of 1,000 thumbs up before the stream is up. We'll be here for at least an hour and a half. So we got a lot of stuff to get into. So please do that. If you're in the chat, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 119,000 subscribers, man. I think we are at least 20 away, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check my analytics here. We are right now about 20 away from 119,000 subscribers. If that can happen during this stream, man, and we can get 1,000 likes, I think that's a good day. So let's try and do that. And I would be very appreciative of that here on today's show. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. You know the deal. At JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the show, you could definitely do that in a variety of ways. Number one, Patreon. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. You guys can go and get your masks. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. We got the new black off the script masks in stock, so go and do that. You guys can go and get a t-shirt, as always. We sold a couple of t-shirts last week. Great stuff. So we got the JD's NEGAN shirt is on there. We got the Doing God's Work, because I do God's work every single week on Monday and Friday, because he doesn't even want to watch Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. We got those shirts on sale in the shop. That's bonfire.com. Link is down in the description for all your t-shirt needs. And you guys can certainly check out any of the other videos that you might have missed on the channel as well. That also helps out the podcast in a variety of ways as well here on YouTube. If you missed anything this week, Monday Night Raw, AEW, you missed SmackDown, which I thought was one of the best shows I've done all year. We covered that night one extensively, man. So make sure you guys go and check that out. I even got a little extra on there for you as well on Friday afternoon, talking about Retribution and them losing Mercedes Martinez and Alexa Bliss potentially leading a stable wherever she goes alongside The Fiend. So make sure you guys go and check that out as well. That was uploaded on Friday. And today's show is sponsored by my great friends over at The Ridge, man. The Ridge has taken care of me and this show throughout our entire partnership, and it's continuing on through the holiday season. You guys can get 10% off anything on their website, and my God, man, they got some great shit on Ridge.com. 10% off using code SCRIPT at checkout. That is Ridge.com/script. We'll go over what they offer a little bit later on in the show, and I want to thank them for always being here with me and being such a great partner on Off the Script. Super chats are open. I see them coming on in. If you guys want to chat, hang out at the end of the show, you guys can certainly do that as well. Ask me anything you want pertaining to today's show, coming off of Friday's night one, where we're going into Monday Night Raw on Monday with night two of the draft. The super chat line is open, so make sure you guys come and get them on in, and we'll hang out at the end of the show. Let's hit the news, man, right at the top. I don't want to waste any more of your time. WWE announced several more draft picks, and this is going to be the majority of the news today, and that is the WWE draft. WWE has officially split up Otis and Tucker of Heavy Machinery because Tucker was drafted to Monday Night Raw. I don't understand this move whatsoever. Tucker is now on Monday Night Raw as a solo. And I honestly believe with every passing day that WWE will never fix their tag team division because their tag team division was fucking miserable already. And you're breaking up another tag team that never got a fucking opportunity for the tag team titles. This pisses me off. This pisses me off royally. I don't get it. Now, on one hand, I want to look at this from all different sides. On one hand, I get it. You're going to draft the Money in the Bank briefcase holder in Otis over Tucker. But I don't know why you wouldn't take Tucker along with Otis anyway. A, what good is Tucker by himself, and what has Tucker done by himself that Monday Night Raw wants Tucker Knight all by himself? He is going to be a resident jobber on Monday Night Raw. Otis is nothing but a fat geek, according to Vince McMahon and WWE Creative, that they gave a Money in the Bank briefcase to. He's nothing more than a comedy character that they gave the Money in the Bank briefcase to, and they're doing everything possible to take the briefcase off of him. Because they realized, hey, maybe this wasn't such a good idea in April. And we haven't done anything with him. Nobody believes he's going to cash in and beat Roman Reigns. Nobody believed he was going to cash in and beat Braun Strowman. Nobody's going to believe he's going to cash in and beat Bray Wyatt. So how long are you going to hold that? For as long as Otis holds the briefcase, Roman Reigns will be the Universal Champion. You either have him cash in and fail and just get it off of him because you knew it was a fucking mistake, or you just get it off of him and put it on somebody in a match, in a stipulation of sorts. Give it to somebody that you actually want to make the next big thing. The WWE used to make the Money in the Bank briefcase holder the next big thing in WWE. Otis, the next big thing is going to be his next fucking meal. I don't believe that we're still looking at Otis as the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. So why are you splitting up this team when you have no tag teams to begin with? I don't get it. Humberto! Carrillo. He's on Monday Night Raw. He didn't go anywhere. So what changed there? I was hoping maybe he goes to SmackDown. Maybe he gets a win on SmackDown. Being on Monday Night Raw, he hasn't acquired a win in how long? I forgot. When was the last time Humberto won a match on Monday Night Raw? Probably never. Probably never. Drew Gulak is on Monday Night Raw. Oh, joy. Oh, joy. Drew Gulak's on Monday Night Raw. More 24/7 title shit with R-Truth. Buddy Murphy goes to SmackDown because the landscape of WWE is changing, but not the Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, Aaliyah storyline. That just changed from Monday Night Raw to SmackDown. So if you thought the landscape was going to change, man, wait till you watch Buddy Murphy and Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins and all that circus from Monday happen on Friday. Unbelievable, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. You thought Monday Night Raw was bad. You complained on Monday. Now you're going to be doing the same thing on Friday, complaining on Friday night. And Kalisto, he gets drafted to SmackDown, which he was always on SmackDown. That really doesn't do anything. But where his Lucha House Party mates end up, I don't know. Knowing WWE, they'll turn Kalisto heel, they'll draft Metalik to SmackDown, and then they'll put Lince Dorado on Monday Night Raw and yet break up another tag team. Because that's what they do. The draft. They break up tag teams for absolutely no reason. Now, Murphy is involved in the storyline with Seth Rollins and Mysterio, so it appears that the storyline will continue on SmackDown to nobody's interest. How many people are in this chat right now, man? Nobody fucking cares about Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins. Nobody! I think the only one that does is Seth Rollins when he's not arguing about Matt Riddle. You fucking geek. You didn't think I seen that one, right? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it today, man. But he's involved in the storyline with Rollins and Mysterio family. Kalisto has been having issues with Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado, so that would assume that they're about to be split up in the draft. And this is the complete list of names so far that have been drafted to each brand. So SmackDown, from 1 to 10, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. That's a decent top 4 right there. Jey Uso, Dominic and Rey Mysterio, Big E, which we'll talk about, Otis, Murphy, and Kalisto. So SmackDown looks a little different, but not really. The only difference on SmackDown is Bianca Belair, Seth Rollins, Dominic, and Rey Mysterio. That's about it. Murphy is an irrelevant individual. He's not going to factor into anything over there. And I don't necessarily understand how Seth Rollins, Dominic, and Rey Mysterio and that storyline continuing from Raw is going to make SmackDown any better when it's not doing anything for Monday Night Raw but driving away fucking viewers because it's gone on too long. I'd love somebody to defend that storyline and give me a reason why it needs to continue. Drafted to Raw, Drew McIntyre, Asuka, the Hurt Business. Nothing's changed there. I mentioned this on Monday. I don't really understand why champions like Drew McIntyre, Asuka, Roman Reigns, why they're drafted. They should stay on the brand regardless. They're the brand's champion. Why are you going to waste a draft pick on Asuka when she's the Raw Women's Champion? She can't take the Raw Women's Championship to SmackDown now, can she? I guess she could, being that they drafted the New Day with the SmackDown Tag Team titles over to Monday Night Raw, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The Hurt Business, AJ Styles, Naomi, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Ricochet, Mandy Rose. WWE wasted a pick on Mandy Rose when they just traded for her a couple of weeks ago, so you're wasting a draft pick on Mandy Rose. I mentioned this on Raw. Or SmackDown, rather. The Miz and John Morrison, they do nothing for me. You were better off just splitting them up. I don't know why anybody just didn't take John Morrison over The Miz, to be quite honest with you. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, which doesn't make any sense to me. I forgot to mention this on Friday. Why would you draft Kofi and Xavier but not Big E? I don't really understand that. You either take all of the New Day or none of them. Why would you take only two and not the third one? Why would you take only Otis and not Tucker? Fucking stupid, man. Why would anybody take Dana Brooke in the draft? I have no idea. I guess she's that valuable to catering. Dana Brooke ended up on Monday Night Raw. She just got traded last week. Another draft pick wasted. This is Monday Night Raw, folks. This is the stupidity of the draft. Tucker, Humberto Carrillo, and Drew Gulak, they got 15. Raw got 15, and SmackDown only got 10 because for every 2 picks SmackDown gets, Raw gets 3. So that's exactly what's going to continue to happen on Monday night in night 2 of the draft. Now, 4 names from the pool on Friday. Everybody was given different pools. There were 4 names from the pool on Friday that remained free agents. This list includes Mickie James, Shorty G, Chad Gable, Lindsay Dorado, and Gran Metalik. I see no plans for any one of those individuals, so it really doesn't matter to me where they end up. They could appear on either brand next week because per WWE storylines, they're allowed to sign with the brand of their choosing. But is it really their choosing? Of course not. I wish all of them were legitimately free agents so they could get the fuck out of WWE. They're not going to be using them. So that is what's going on with the draft. Just going into Monday Night Raw from what we've seen come out of Friday. Now, Braun Strowman, he is in the pool on Monday, and he's got a match with Roman Reigns for the Universal title on Friday next week. So WWE announced the season premiere of Friday Night SmackDown. That will feature Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Braun Strowman. I know right away here, folks, that if this is a match happening on Friday, then this is probably Braun Strowman's last hurrah on Friday night. They're not putting him in a match on Friday night to win. This is going to be his farewell goodbye for now on SmackDown because Braun Strowman more than likely is going to end up on Monday Night Raw. Now, as it turns out, that will likely be Strowman's last night on the brand because the original plans for the draft had him listed as being traded to Monday Night Raw. Strowman has been appearing on Raw in recent weeks anyway, so it appears that there is plans to move him to Monday Night Raw permanently. Meltzer and Alvarez discussed some of the moves being made in the draft, and Meltzer said that he expects that Lars Sullivan will remain on SmackDown because they want to keep the big monsters on opposite brands, and I think that, from me personally, is a very good idea. Meltzer said, and I quote, "I would guess Lars is staying on Raw, or staying on SmackDown, rather, because I figured they would keep Braun Strowman and Lars on separate sides. That's not necessarily true, but that's kind of how I would do it. And I do think that's what's going to happen. I absolutely think Strowman's going to end up on Monday Night Raw. So we got 3 hours of woohoo! We got 3 hours of that on Monday Night Raw. I don't know what he's going to do over there. I don't know what value he's going to add to Monday Night Raw. Nobody wants to see him on Friday. Who the fuck's going to want to see him on Monday? But Lars Sullivan, man, I would keep them away from each other as well. That would be Monday Night Raw's resident monster, right? The Strowman Express. And then you got the Freak over on SmackDown. SmackDown doesn't have that big monster-like athlete. So Lars Sullivan's definitely going to fit that. You got your Strowmans. You got your Bobby Lashley's over on Monday Night Raw. And then you got your Dabi Kato's over there as well. Who the fuck knows where he ends up? And then you got Lars Sullivan on SmackDown. I just think logically that's the way that it should be done. When Alvarez noted that Strowman is already on SmackDown, Meltzer said, but Braun is going to go to Raw, and that's what I'm thinking. Put it this way. Braun was going to Raw in the original thing for this. Obviously, it can change, but he was. That's why I figured with Roman Reigns, that's the kind of way I would do it. You do the job on the way out, and Braun's leaving, and they're going to try to get a rating for next week, and then the week after is going to be the week on FS1, so that will be an interesting week as well, end quote. So there's really nothing more to add to that. I think Strowman and Sullivan being on separate brands is probably the best way to go. Strowman's definitely going to end up on Raw because he's been on Monday Night Raw more than he's been on SmackDown in the last couple of weeks with Raw Underground and him fighting Keith Lee. Keith Lee will probably still remain on Monday nights, and they'll probably continue that. So that's another factor into all this as well. WWE didn't do that on Monday Night Raw with that no contest or DQ, whatever the fuck finish that was on Monday Night Raw, where they were beating the shit out of each other and then they fell off the stage through the tables. WWE didn't do that for any specific reason. They did that primarily because that's where they want to go with Keith Lee, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea for limited Keith Lee. So they're going to feud Braun Strowman with Keith Lee, and that's pretty much a verification that he's going to Monday Night Raw in the draft. Now, what about the Street Profits? This is what everybody's been talking about as well as far as the draft, because the New Day got drafted over to Monday Night Raw with the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Street Profits and Sami Zayn right now. There's news on them possibly switching sides in the draft. Meltzer talked about the New Day's move to Raw and said that now, with the SmackDown Tag Team titles being moved over to Monday Night Raw, they need to move the Raw Tag Team titles over to SmackDown. I don't necessarily think that is the right way to go about it, but if they do go about it that way, we could potentially end up with the same result. Now, Meltzer said they have not moved the Street Profits over, but put it this way, it was, as of this morning, absolutely the Profits moving to SmackDown. Now, there's a couple of reasons why they might move the Profits over to SmackDown. One, they just drafted the New Day over to Monday Night Raw with the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Profits go over to SmackDown with the Monday Night Raw Tag Team titles. Now, obviously, the one big thing is that Bianca Belair got drafted over to SmackDown, and Montez Ford is married to Bianca Belair, so they might not want to split up Bianca and Montez Ford. They've been trying very hard to keep the couples together via the draft. So if that is the case, fine. And if they move the Profits over to SmackDown with the Monday Night Raw Tag Team titles, fine. If they stay on Monday Night Raw, that's fine as well, because at that point, I think WWE is going to be forced to do something with the Tag Team Championships. Now, if the Street Profits stay on Monday Night Raw, they could absolutely do a unification match whenever they want, because both teams are on the same show. It doesn't make sense for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships to be on Monday Night Raw if you do not have a plan in place to unify the championships. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, and it makes splitting Big E away from the New Day even more fucking ridiculous. Number two, if the Profits move over to SmackDown, we can still get the same result as far as a unification match, because the Survivor Series is coming up. So if the New Day are the Monday, or well, actually not the Monday Night Raw Tag Team Champions, but if the New Day are on Monday Night Raw, and they are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and the Street Profits are on SmackDown as the Monday Night Raw Tag Team Champions, you can't do that because you got red titles on the blue brand, you got blue titles on the red brand. Something needs to come to a head. Survivor Series could be a perfect match for a unification between the Profits and the New Day. And I could see WWE wanting that on the New Day and them being the face of a hopefully new and refreshed tag team division. I don't know who else would be in the division. Miz and Morrison, Lucha House Party. I don't know who else there is on the main roster right now. You broke up fucking Heavy Machinery for whatever fucking reason. I don't know. But I've been saying this for 4 years. Float the championships from Raw and SmackDown. Simple. You get them floating and they could feud with whatever tag team that exists right now on the main roster. I would absolutely do that, and I would go as far as to say do the same thing as the women's. For the women's tag team championships, and not the tag team champion, the women's singles titles. I would do that with the Raw Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship. At the end of all of this, I'd unify them. There's no need for two divisions. None. There's none. I've been saying this for 4 years now, and nobody's listened to me. I said at the end of the day, this is what's going to be the best for the brands. And everybody's like, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, that's not going to work. And of course it's going to work. Look at how WWE has diminished the tag team division. Absolutely going to work. Now they just need to build fucking tag teams, and then we'll be off and running. But WWE, if they move the Profits over to SmackDown, we can still get that same result at the Survivor Series. Now, Sami Zayn, everybody's talking about Sami Zayn maybe moving over to Monday Night Raw for what? Why would you move Sami Zayn over to Monday Night Raw? Because the United States champion, Bobby Lashley, was already drafted to Monday Night Raw. You can't have the IC title and the US title on the same brand. So Sami Zayn is staying on SmackDown. Absolutely going nowhere. Meltzer noted that Sami Zayn is probably staying on SmackDown because the Hurt Business was drafted to Raw, and Bobby Lashley is the United States champion. They can't have the titles on the same brands. Meltzer also says, besides AJ, I think they're going to send one more guy from SmackDown over to feud with Drew, so he will have some new opponents. Who that might be, I don't know. I honestly think it's going to be AJ, and I think it's going to be Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt's moving over to Monday Night Raw, and I think with Bray Wyatt comes Alexa Bliss as well, because there's a storyline there between those two, and WWE, after all the work they've put into it, would not want to break up that dynamic that we've seen in the last few weeks. So that's that. So the Profits, we could get the same result going into the Survivor Series, and Sami Zayn ain't going nowhere. I don't even know why that was a discussion. The IC title stays on SmackDown, and the United States title stays on Monday Night Raw. Why did WWE split up the New Day on night one of the WWE draft? I don't know. I don't really know. In fact, I was actually one of the very few people pushing for Big E to go on his own and be away from the New Day. And we look to be getting that very imminently. Big E is going to have a singles run. He's going to be away from the New Day. And Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston have landed on Monday Night Raw with Big E staying on SmackDown. Now, I absolutely think that's the way to go. I don't want Big E doing the New Day thing. I don't want Big E gyrating, and he probably is still going to end up doing that. I think him being away from the New Day is going to make him a more serious competitor at the end of all of this. It just doesn't make sense why Monday Night Raw opted to choose Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, but not Big E. I really don't understand that. So whoever's in charge of Monday Night Raw, whether it be USA Network, Bruce, Vince, yeah, whatever, right? It looks like whoever's making those decisions is a fucking moron. Why wouldn't you take Big E in the draft? I don't understand that. You take 2 out of the 3. It doesn't make any sense to me. So during Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed WWE splitting up the New Day. He said that it's likely all about Big E as the company continues to give him a focus to prove that he can make it on his own. He says, and I quote, "I think that their mentality is that they want to give Big E a big singles push. And in their mind, if he's part of the New Day, then people will want him together as a team. It doesn't have to be that way. I don't think breaking up the New Day was the right thing to do, but I'm sure if Big E comes, and goes for the big singles titles that everybody expects him to, or if they'll go all the way with him in a singles capacity, they figure that everyone will be happy with that, and they will be," end quote. It's a very simple reason as to why they split Big E away from the New Day, and I absolutely agree with that. If Big E is by himself and that's where Big E is going, then so be it. Now, I understand a lot of people are upset about the New Day being split up. You're going to get Xavier Woods and you're going to get Kofi Kingston on Monday Night Raw. You're going to get Big E on SmackDown, so you're going to get 2 nights during the week of the New Day. You're going to get Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston succeeding on Monday Night Raw. They are going to be tag team champions on and on and on again. And Big E's going to be chasing singles gold on SmackDown. So instead of having the New Day together, you're actually still getting the New Day, but on both shows, and they're all going to be successful in some way, shape, or form. So if you're a fan of the New Day, I don't understand why you're upset about this move. This is probably the best thing for Big E at the end of the day. I just don't understand as far as logistics go, and I'm not even going to try and figure it out. But why is Big E being drafted by himself when Monday Night Raw had a chance to take all 3 members of the New Day? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense unless there was something there where SmackDown gave Monday Night Raw an extra pick or something along those lines where they don't take Big E. Maybe they maneuvered a trade together between the brands. You can have Xavier and Kofi, but we're going to take Big E, but we'll give you something else on the side. Maybe like an NXT draft pick or something. Something's got to be discussed there. And this is why the WWE draft will never be taken seriously, because nobody puts any thought into it. Nobody puts any thought into it. And I said this on Friday, when WWE did the draft, and we seen it on Friday Night SmackDown, it's the same fucking simplistic draft that we seen the last 2 times. They don't put any fucking thought into it. They split everybody. They split 60 men and women into 2 pools. One for Friday, people only eligible to be drafted on Friday, and then Monday, those people are only eligible to be drafted on Monday. So if somebody, for example, like Bayley, everybody was like, why isn't Bayley drafted? She's the SmackDown Women's Champion. Why is Sasha Banks and Dana Brooke getting drafted over the SmackDown Women's Champion? It's because she was ineligible to be drafted. She's only eligible to be drafted on Monday. I don't mind that. I think that works. But WWE, they failed to explain how they got these 2 pools, how they put these men and women into separate pools on Friday and Monday. What was the process of that? How did you determine who goes where, which pool they end up, and what night they are eligible to be drafted on? Nobody explains that. Nobody explained anything about NXT. NXT is a 3rd brand on WWE. They failed to mention if NXT was a part of the draft or not. They should use draft picks from NXT as far as trades go. Something along those lines. NXT draft picks should be up in brand warfare matches. Something along those lines. So I don't understand why WWE just goes into this very lazy. They don't give a shit. It's almost as if, like I said on Friday, it's a burden for them to be creative when it comes to the draft. They could have absolutely so much fun as far as changing the landscape, which nothing ever fucking changes because it's the same goddamn writing teams that we got now. What difference does it make if Bianca Belair is going to SmackDown compared to Monday Night Raw? It's the same fucking writing team. It's going to end up being the same terrible women's division. So the landscape isn't changed. WWE could certainly have fun with it and make sense of it and try to show us that they're excited about it, but it seems like it's nothing but a chore to these people. So I just want some answers. I want some logic. I want some fun. I want some creativity. But in WWE's mind, this is all nothing more than a chore. So that's the way it is. Seth Rollins. I know you guys were waiting for me to talk about Seth Rollins here with the Matt Riddle situation. apparently has heat with Matt Riddle. Oh, poor baby. Poor baby. Seth Rollins has heat with Matt Riddle. Why exactly does he have heat with Matt Riddle? So, Seth Rollins made an appearance on Friday Night SmackDown, watch along during the night one of the draft. Rollins was moved from Monday Night Raw to Friday Night SmackDown as he was included in the first round of the draft. Now, during the live stream, during the watch along, Rollins was asked about who he would like to work with now that he's on SmackDown. He named the likes of Big E and AJ Styles, but AJ Styles is probably... AJ Styles moved to Monday Night Raw. Not probably. AJ moved to Monday Night Raw, but that was before Rollins knew. He was interviewed almost immediately after he was drafted to SmackDown. Now, it should be noted that Rollins' appearance came before the news that these stars had been moved, like I said, to Monday Night Raw, so he had no idea. I don't think a lot of the people had any idea where they were going. I think WWE intentionally keeps that secret. So when I watch The New Day or Xavier Woods yell out, say E's name on Friday to Stephanie, I didn't think they had any idea that Big E was actually staying on SmackDown and they were moving to Monday Night Raw. They wanted that genuine reaction and they got it from Xavier Woods. And I think I read somewhere that Big E said that the split of The New Day actually hurts on a real life level because they've been together for so long and they've developed a Hall of Fame career for themselves together, and now they're being split up. But at the end of the day, it's going to be very beneficial for Big E. This is going to be his big break. So I think it's going to work out. I just don't get the logistics of it. Now, then things got interesting with Rollins, as Rollins apparently took a shot at Matt Riddle by noting he has no interest in a possible match with Matt Riddle. He says, and I quote, "I've got no interest in facing Matt Riddle at any point in my career, so he can go to Monday Night Raw as far as I am concerned." End quote. Now, at first, when I heard this, I thought that maybe Rollins was being in character. Because if Rollins was drafted to SmackDown, you got to have somebody in that company. Somebody in that company thinking ahead. In this specific case, what type of matches could we do with Seth Rollins after he finishes up, if he ever does, with Rey Mysterio? Matt Riddle would be at the top of the list, right? You got the Messiah versus Matt Riddle, the guy who's just, bodacious, right? That Michael called the bodacious bro. Give me a fucking break, right? He's very lighthearted. He's just very out there, bro, right? That would be a great match. I think that would be a fantastic match, actually. And I think that would make for a great storyline if they can come up with something solid for both guys to be in a long-term feud. Maybe it's over a Intercontinental Championship. Maybe it's something that, Matt Riddle could use to bolster his career as he moves up the ladder in WWE, hopefully. Everybody would be thinking about a potential Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins match. Now, I thought he was in character when he said this. I thought Seth Rollins was in character when he said, I have absolutely no interest in a possible match with Matt Riddle. So, at the end of the day, it wasn't Rollins being in character. It was legitimately how Rollins feels. Now, back in 2018, Rollins dropped Riddle's name as somebody he thought was super talented and has an interesting skill set. So that's what Rollins said about Matt Riddle in 2018. Now, the comments from Rollins don't appear to be a part of a storyline, and there appears to be legit heat between Riddle and Seth Rollins. Now, I do understand where this is all coming from because news was leaked as the days went on following Friday's draft. The apparent heat between Rollins and Matt Riddle stem from Matt Riddle's wife, Lisa, back in November, talking shit about the main roster women. And she included in a now deleted Instagram post, she photographed Becky Lynch. She didn't mention Becky Lynch by name, but Becky Lynch was in this now deleted photo on Instagram. And this is what the caption with the photo said. Now, to give you guys a clearer picture, I don't have it pulled up. You guys can go search for it on your own. It was Becky Lynch from behind, And she was in what we know is her ring gear. She had those pants that she was wearing, or whatever the fuck she was wearing, right? The black and yellow outfit, the ring gear that she was wearing. So Lisa, Matt Riddle's wife, says this in the now deleted Instagram post. Calling out multiple main roster divas, she says, over the past couple of weeks for being straight, skinny, jiggly, fat. Not saying that they are not beautiful. All I'm saying is squat. It's funny because there have been multiple female wrestlers that have asked to train with me. Each one of them look great in their gear. Clearly, they know what they are doing, especially if they want to train with yours truly. A little self-confident there, a little conceited there, but I'll bypass that to continue reading the rest of this Instagram post. All females freaking squat and go hard. I do not have many photos of my rear end in minimal clothing besides what you see on my Instagram page. Then she shows the comparison of herself, not caring what she looks like, and then she shows herself in her, I guess, workout attire. She's a mom of 3, and she eventually says rant over. Yada, yada, yada. She goes on to say that she's a mom of 3, just trying to be a strong, decent Olympic lifter. A mom of 3 versus 2 females getting paid a ton of money for how they look, rant over. And then we see a fan on Twitter, as of yesterday, talk about a story and share a story with the Dirt Sheets around Survivor Series weekend last year. This is what the fan tweeted. After last year's Survivor Series, Riddle took me, I don't know who this guy is or what his relation is to Matt Riddle, but he says, Riddle took me and our crew out to eat at the same steakhouse Seth, Becky, and Carl Anderson were dining at. They knew we were there, but went out of their way to not acknowledge us in any way. Throughout the entire weekend, Riddle talked shit about Rollins and how he never evolved as a performer, how he didn't take care of his opponents in the ring, how he was stale, etc., etc. This wasn't just one conversation. It was every time I saw Riddle that weekend. So many of our conversations revolved around wrestlers and people in general. Matt didn't like or think highly of or had a personal bone to pick with them. If we weren't chatting wrestling, he was either bashing others or boasting about himself, often both at the same time. That said, I can't possibly see why Rollins and Brock and Goldberg and just about everybody else who knows better wants nothing to do with him in a professional or personal sense of the word. Surely it's nothing. It was a shit show. I thought something was going down. Instead, it was nonstop talk about how Rollins stinks, how he's awesome, and what it's like for Matt to have eaten the RKO, end quote. Which I think he took the RKO in the Survivor Series, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't really, listen, I've been very hard on Seth Rollins. The motherfucker's got me blocked on social media. I've had people legitimately that I know reach out to people that they know in the WWE. This is a true story. People that I know that legitimately, on my behalf, without even me asking, reach out to people in the WWE to reach out to Rollins to ask him why he has me blocked and if he could unblock me. And Seth Rollins told these people, which eventually got back to me, absolutely hell no. He talked shit about me for a full year. Meanwhile, everybody else on the fucking internet was talking about how Rollins didn't evolve as a babyface. Rollins was terrible. The creative direction for Seth Rollins was fucking awful in every sense of the word. They made him look like the weakest babyface champion that I have ever seen in modern history. He looked fucking terrible. Now, if you go back and look at his IC title run when he was the hottest babyface in the company and WWE killed him before he even got to where we thought he could be, everybody was talking about him being as white hot as he was, being the guy to take over in Roman Reigns' spot and be the one legitimately to challenge for Brock Lesnar and the WWE title. I loved that Seth Rollins because that Seth Rollins proved to be exactly what we all love in a babyface. Confident, strong, knowing he's the best wrestler in the WWE and he did everything to prove that to you night in and night out. He was having some of the best matches of his career. Nobody remembers me praising him and the work that he did then, though, right? It's all about Rollins' last babyface run as the champion when they had him go up against Lesnar twice at WrestleMania and then at SummerSlam and then lose all of his credibility going into Hell in a Cell against The Fiend. Yet I'm the one that's got to be fucking crucified, yet I'm the one that's got to be shit on because all I did was express my opinion on the character that is Seth Rollins and not the man that is Colby. Nobody understands this. This is the same fucking thing that I got crucified for when I criticized Roman Reigns' character for 6 fucking years. Oh, it's about Joe Anoa'i. Hey, no, it's not. It's not about Joe Anoa'i. It's about Roman fucking Reigns. Okay? Get the fucking picture. There's an obvious difference. Rollins is looking at a picture from Matt Riddle's wife that has nothing to do with Becky Lynch. Nothing. She didn't mention Becky Lynch by name. Becky Lynch was just the one coincidentally photographed in the picture. How many times has WWE made fun of Bray Wyatt? How many times has WWE made fun of Bray Wyatt's weight? I mean, he was called Husky fucking Harris before he was even Bray Wyatt. How many times has WWE made fun of Kevin Owens' weight? How many times has somebody in a promo made fun of Kevin Owens' weight? Folks, they are just naturally husky individuals. You're never going to see Kevin Owens looking like Johnny Gargano. You're never going to see Bray Wyatt looking like Finn Balor. Becky Lynch, she has a natural body type. She has a typical body type. That is her body type. Maybe if she does squats, maybe she can't get the big ass that Lisa Riddle is talking about. Maybe it's just impossible. Some people are just built differently. Rollins doesn't seem to understand that. He didn't mention anything, or she didn't mention, rather, anything about Becky Lynch. Matt Riddle didn't say anything about Becky Lynch. Now, if Matt Riddle said something about Becky Lynch is nothing but a bitch, blah, blah, blah. She's undeserving. She doesn't deserve the spot that she got. She shouldn't have main evented WrestleMania. I could have named 4 other females that should have been much more deserved. If he said anything along those lines to Becky Lynch, then I would absolutely 1,000% back Seth Rollins. But what exactly did Matt Riddle say that hasn't been said about Seth Rollins this entire fucking time? Seth Rollins hasn't evolved as a performer. He just hasn't. Every Seth Rollins match is the same Seth Rollins match that you've seen in the last 5 years. Nothing has changed. Now, is that on him? Probably not. It has something to do with him. Or is it WWE? Because every time these guys go to a different promotion, you see them wrestle a little bit differently. They are told to do what WWE wants them to do. So I'm not even going to nail Seth Rollins on not evolving as a performer. That goes to show you that WWE hasn't evolved as a pro wrestling company. I'm not going to place blame solely on Seth Rollins for that. But if he's got problems with Matt Riddle, because Matt Riddle doesn't think he's a good wrestler, Matt Riddle doesn't think he's evolved, Matt Riddle thinks he sucks, Matt Riddle says he's this, he's that, and blah, blah, blah. Bro, are you fucking serious? How much more of a pussy can Seth Rollins be? Get the fuck over yourself. Seriously. Handle this in a professional way. You're going on WWE social media, having a watch-along, and you're just throwing your emotions out there against Matt Riddle for absolutely no fucking reason. You're just making a bigger fucking case for yourself where everybody's gonna look at you like a fucking idiot. Shut your mouth when it comes to these fucking things. Handle it like a man. Go and talk to Matt Riddle. Go and sit down and talk to Matt Riddle himself about it. Square it out. Matt Riddle's now on the main roster. You're going to have to deal with him eventually. You don't think WWE is going to eventually give us that match? What's going to happen when we do get it? Are you going to be willing to work with him in a professional way? Are you going to iron out your differences? You should know Matt Riddle more than anybody, bro. Look at what he's done to try and get himself over. He's done it with Goldberg. He's done it with Brock Lesnar. That's what he does. Seth Rollins has injured people. This is nothing new. How many people have blamed Rollins for injuring Balor? How many people blamed Rollins for injuring Sting when he gave Sting that neck injury with the goddamn buckle bomb? Bret Hart even came out and said something about Seth Rollins being, not safe in the ring or something along those lines. A lot of people said the same thing about Seth. Now you're making it a big deal. Get the fuck over yourself, man. Listen, I know just as much as anybody is about wearing your heart on your sleeve or wearing your emotions on your sleeve. But man, every single time this guy has a fucking interview or he's being interviewed about something, he's got something to say on a podcast, this guy puts his foot so far in his fucking mouth, he doesn't know when to fucking shut up. Seriously. Shut your fucking mouth. If it's not the fans, it's Matt Riddle. If it's not Matt Riddle, it's WWE fans not really being patient enough to follow a storyline and yada, yada, yada. Why don't they like me after I feuded with The Fiend? I was the champion that they always wished for, and they got it, and now they complain. Bro, shut your fucking mouth. Shut your mouth. You were not the champion we asked for. In fact, you were a pussy champion. And you made Bray Wyatt into a babyface and yourself into a fucking heel with the bullshit ending that we got in Hell in a Cell. If you don't understand the fans' frustrations about that, maybe you should go back and rewatch the fucking tape, because what you did with that match in that situation, you ruined yourself. At some point, you should have stuck up for yourself and say, Vince, this doesn't make sense. I don't think this is going to be good for my character growth moving forward. Fuck out of here, man. Seth Rollins is nothing but a grade A fucking pussy. He doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. I'm telling you again, for the umpteenth time, shut your fucking mouth. I can't wait for you to fucking go and take care of your wife when she has her baby. You had nothing of value to the fucking show. Nothing. Everything I said good about you with this heel run has been diminished because you don't know when to fucking quit. Rey Mysterio now for 11 straight months. Give me a break. Oh, fans don't like long-term storytelling. They're fast food fans or whatever the fuck they're talking about. Really? I don't know anybody that enjoys fast food 11 straight months in a row, you fucking geek. Please. You want long-term storytelling? Go watch Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa as they feuded in NXT. We didn't get it every single fucking week. And believe me, you and Mysterio are not even the caliber of performer that Ciampa and Gargano are. Moving on. That's Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, and that's the story there. We got Tessa Blanchard. Let's talk about Tessa Blanchard. Here's another one. Doesn't know when to shut her fucking mouth. The WWE draft obviously has given way to people talking about Tessa Blanchard. Will Tessa Blanchard be coming in to the WWE? A tenured member of the creative team told Ringside News that Vince McMahon knows of Tessa Blanchard, but not much about her. She's not on Vince's radar. That's not to say the situation can't change if someone sits McMahon down and shows her, or shows him, some footage of her. Vince McMahon famously doesn't watch any pro wrestling he does not produce. Well, that's his kryptonite right there. That is his number one thing. What is wrong with Vince McMahon? He doesn't watch anything going on around him. He thinks everything WWE is producing is the way it should be. Give me a break. Now, there were rumors early on that people were chewing Vince McMahon's ear off about Tessa Blanchard. We don't know what came of that rumor. Vince McMahon is scarce backstage, and, people really haven't seen a lot of Vince McMahon in recent weeks. On Monday Night Raw, has been very difficult to get a hold of, etc., etc. The same is true now as it was before regarding Tessa Blanchard and WWE. The only one that has had open communication with Tessa Blanchard is Triple H. So if Triple H is having discussions with Tessa Blanchard, then I'm pretty sure he was given the role of, you know what, you go out and get her. You know, everybody's talking about her. She's on the indies. Let's bring her on in. Let's see what she wants. Let's see what we could do with her. Bring her on in, etc., etc. So Triple H is talking to Tessa Blanchard. Not only does Triple H get it, and he's more in line with what we are thinking as far as a community goes in the internet wrestling community. He's more than anybody in that company. He knows the beat of the fans. He knows the heartbeat and the pulse of the fans and what they want, who they want to see. And he knows talent. If he knows talent, like Tessa, he's going to go out and get Tessa. Whether it's Vince McMahon or Vince McMahon's team telling him or not, Triple H is going to go out and get Tessa. And if Triple H does have open lines of communication with Tessa, she ain't going to the main roster. She's going right to NXT. NXT has had a problem with the women's division as of late, and they've had a problem with the tag team division as of late. NXT as a whole has a problem as of late. But Triple H seems to be working and making the women's division better. We got Ember Moon back. We got Io Shirai as the women's champion. We got Toni Storm. We got Dakota Kai. We got Candice LeRae. We got Rhea Ripley. And possibly Tessa Blanchard. I mean, that's a big fucking deal right there, man. How many names there could honestly lead a goddamn division? Every single fucking one of them. Every one of them. Mercedes Martinez. Right? We got Raquel Gonzalez. How many more am I missing? Indy Hartwell on the up. WWE always looking for new talent to bring on in. It looks like they've reworked the women's division and brought it back to the state that we all thought it was, and that is the best women's division in the United States, possibly in the world. And if Tessa Blanchard comes on in, my God, man, you're going to put an exclamation point on that, whether you like her or not. You can't take away her in-ring ability. I do think moving to NXT is probably best for Tessa Blanchard, because if you move her to the main roster, A, nobody's going to really know of her to that extent. She's so young. She's 24 years old, I think. She's so young still that working a couple of years, a year and a half maybe in NXT, not only will get her feet wet working the WWE style, working the camera, working the entrance, and doing all that she needs to do. WWE's going to completely repackage her to bring that star out of her, which she already had, but WWE is just going to accentuate that in NXT. It's pretty much a breeding ground for getting her ready for the main roster. Going there is probably more beneficial of a move to Tessa Blanchard than moving to the main roster. Look at all the talent that she has to work with. Look at all the talent that you have at your fingertips to hone your craft against. You're not going to get that on the main roster. Nobody's going to know of you on the main roster. And if you go to the main roster, all they're going to think of you is, oh, look, she's Tully's daughter. Let's feed her to fucking Charlotte. They'll eventually do that, but Tessa will be a little bit more robust as far as star power goes. So it's going to make Charlotte look even better in the end when Tessa has a few years in NXT to marinate. Not only that, WWE, I'm sure, will have Tessa, go through some behavioral training. They'll go over what's right, what's wrong. They'll get her back in line with what she can and what she cannot do. They'll sit her down and go over, this is the way it's got to be. You can't be out of line. We know we're bringing you in right now, and a lot of people really don't like that move, so you're on a short leash. They're going to give her what she wants. They're going to pay her very well. So NXT, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, William Regal, all that. Those are the people that I would put in line to get her where she needs to be. And she'll become not only the best women's wrestler in the entire world, but she may become a better woman at the end of all of it. That's just my way of thinking. So we'll see what happens with Tessa Blanchard, but I do think she ends up with WWE because the talent pool there is so attractive that Tessa will probably want to go there and work against any of those women there. She's not going to get that in AEW. She's not going to get that in AEW. To me, if I'm Tessa, the more attractive offer is NXT. Going in there and working instead of going into AEW and becoming the woman. Yeah, they're going to be building the division around her, but how long before you get bored with, the lack of women that they have there for you to work with? So I think NXT is probably going to be the best for Tessa Blanchard. And right now, Triple H is in communication, has open communication with Tessa Blanchard, and that is the only one. Vince McMahon knows of her, but he, right now, doesn't have her on his radar. One of the other women, right now, that has been coming up in creative meetings with the draft is Melina. Melina reportedly signed with the WWE, but she denied the report. She, right now, is being brought up backstage. Her name is being brought up backstage with the WWE draft happening right now. Natalya recently teased that she was training with somebody, but she couldn't tell fans who it was. Obviously, that was revealed to be Ronda Rousey because Ronda Rousey said in a recent social media post that she was training with TJ Wilson and Natalya and getting ready to do in-ring work. And if that is the case, Ronda Rousey may be back in the WWE sooner rather than later. So Ronda Rousey kind of spoiled that mystery reveal that Natalya didn't really want to go out there and boast about. Ringside News has learned that Melina's name has been brought up backstage. A tenured member of the writing team confirmed to Ringside News that her name was not mentioned when the story of her signing broke, but that has changed. They are kicking around ideas on how to use Melina, but nothing was definite as of a couple of days ago. Anything can change in WWE, obviously, and with whatever Vince McMahon wants, he probably is going to get. So we'll see what happens. Maybe she's drafted on Monday as a surprise, signing with the Raw brand. Who knows? I would like her. Listen, I could see her fit in on SmackDown, but I could also see John Morrison being split away from The Miz. And yes, that would break up another tag team, but there's no value in the Miz and Morrison tag team anyway. I think they're nothing more than a joke together. I think John Morrison is actually losing value by standing next to The Miz. If she doesn't go to SmackDown, I can absolutely see her in a position where she's back with John Morrison, managing John Morrison, and they're a power couple together, quote unquote. You know, that's what I would like to see. Get them back together, I think, the nostalgia of that. And if you work them creatively in a very good way, I think that could be a very good duo on Monday Night Raw. So that's what I would do with Melina. But she went out there and denied all the reports. I mean, Mike Johnson came out and said that he backed up his sources with 4 other sources, and they all told him the same thing. I mean, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. PW Insider and Mike Johnson, they put out news exclusively for paying people, for paying subscribers. If they're not putting out the fucking news, then why are people subscribed to them? And the reason why these people subscribe to somebody like Mike Johnson and PW Insider or Dave Meltzer, The Observer, because they sometimes put these exclusive stories behind paywalls. And if you're paying for something like this type of news, it better be fucking true. And I do believe it's true. She just didn't want the cat out of the bag. Brian Cage did the same thing when people were talking about him signing with AEW way back when. Way back when. I think it was in the beginning of the year, right? Sometime late last year, early the beginning of the year. And what happened? You had his wife come out and say, oh, he didn't sign anywhere. If anybody would know where he signs, it would be me. I'm his wife, Melissa Santos. And what happened? Brian Cage ended up coming to AEW. He was just injured. Somebody reported it. He was injured. He didn't want the cat out of the bag. He wanted it to be a surprise. But folks, it's the internet. It's 2020. It's very difficult to keep anything a surprise. And if you do, you gotta way lucky with one. Melina will be in the WWE, but her name has been brought up in creative meetings. SmackDown or Monday Night Raw with John Morrison. Get The Miz back to being The Miz, because I think this pairing of Miz and Morrison is absolutely fucking awful. Guys, we got 559 likes in the chat. We got 1,300 live here on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. I'm glad you're here with me. We're going to go over the rest of the news in just a little bit. But I want to give a shout out to my sponsor for today's show, and that is The Ridge. Ridge.com/script, man. You guys go to ridge.com/script and use code SCRIPT at checkout. You're going to get 10% off the Ridge wallet and anything that they offer on their website, man. I love the Ridge wallet. It's so great. It changed my entire outlook on wallets. It's light. It's sleek. It's really, really great. Scratch resistant. Durable as hell. And I love it, man. I've been taking it with me every single where I go. Every place I go. I love it. So this video is brought to you by the Ridge wallet. It holds up to 12 cards plus room for cash. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. I have the forged carbon myself. I think it's great. I love the wallet, man, but I don't want to shill you the wallet. But they got 30,000 5-star reviews on the wallet alone, so you guys know that there is a lot of confidence surrounding the Ridge wallet. They got durable materials, means each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. You could buy one wallet and own it for the rest of your life. You're not going to need another wallet ever again. And the Ridge team is so confident that you'll like it that they'll give you 45 days to test drive it. And if you don't like it, which I don't know why you wouldn't, they'll give you a full refund. So you guys can actually go to their website right now. They not only got wallets, they got backpacks. The commuter backpack, man. One of the best looking backpacks I've ever owned in my entire life, man. The padding inside is great. It's great for laptops. It's got a built-in USB charging port for all your devices. It's unbelievable. They got knives, they got wallets, they got backpacks, they got charging stations, charging blocks, you name it, man. Get 10% off using code SCRIPT at checkout. Once again, guys, that is ridge.com/script. Free worldwide shipping. Use code SCRIPT at checkout. And I want to thank them for supporting the podcast right here on Off the Script, man. So thank you to the Ridge for always being a great friend of the show. Moving on here, man. We got the ratings. Friday Night SmackDown overnight ratings for night one of the draft. The overnight ratings are in. The episode drew a 2.087 million views, which was up from last Friday's SmackDown episode that did a 2.042. The first hour on night one of the draft did 2.156, and hour two did 2.017. Last week's show did hour one 2.105, and hour two did a 1.980. It also pulled in an average of 0.60 ratings in the 18 to 49 demographic, which was number one for the night, which I'm assuming all Fox cares about. And that is up from the 0.55 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic the show did last week. SmackDown was in the middle of the pack for the night amongst the networks and viewership behind 2020, Magnum PI, Blue Bloods, Shark Tank, Dateline NBC, and they, right now, are nowhere near where they should be as far as A, ratings for the show, and B, especially for a draft. A draft in which they are hyping that it will change the landscape of WWE. So much so that nobody gives a shit about changing the landscape of WWE. Nobody's watching. So how exactly is it changing the landscape of WWE? I don't know. Now, if you want my thoughts on Friday night, all you got to do is go back and watch the post show on Off the Script Friday night. We were live right here on YouTube with almost 2,000 live viewers. So go and check that out. We broke down legitimately everything during that show, what made sense, what didn't make sense, what I liked, what I didn't like. We broke down the matches, etc., etc. You guys can go back and watch that on YouTube, and then obviously available on Amazon Prime, Amazon Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. So make sure you guys go and do that. The Wednesday night ratings for AEW and NXT. They actually went up against the vice presidential debate with The Fly. Live viewership numbers for Dynamite and NXT are the followings. Both shows were down in total viewers. It was Dynamite that took the win, of course, even though it did not stay in the top 10 on cable for the night. Dynamite drew 753,000 live viewers, and NXT drew 639,000 live viewers. Last week, AEW drew 866, while NXT drew 732,000 live viewers. As in most cases, AEW won the demographic 18 to 49. NXT ranked 56 among the top 150 shows on cable, while AEW was number 19. This marked the post edition for NXT because they were coming off their TakeOver 31 event. The shows were up against the vice presidential debate that aired across several networks and did big viewership numbers. In total of 50 million plus people watching the vice presidential debate. And that was that. If you guys want my thoughts on AEW, you guys can go and watch Jesse and I cover it on Wednesday night with the AEW Dynamite post show. Now, we're going to be talking NXT in just a little bit because I have a lot of NXT news. So stay tuned for that. Monday Night Raw ratings, they were up against two NFL games. And according to Showbuzz Daily, the ratings for Monday Night Raw were terrible as always. 1.686 million viewers on the USA Network. That is down from the 1.822 million viewers they did a week ago. It went up against Week 4 of Monday Night Football featuring the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. That did 8.652 million viewers on ESPN. Because of a delay due to COVID-19, there was a second game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots that aired on CBS that averaged around 13 million viewers. The 18 to 49 demos had hour 1 at 0.56, hour 2 was a 0.52, and Hour 3 was a 0.49. Now, the show will obviously be up, I think, a little bit this week with the draft. But after that, it's all on the writing team to make sure the shows are somewhat interesting. And this is why I say with the draft, it doesn't matter who goes where. It's the writing teams that need to do the bulk of the work to keep people watching, and they just aren't doing that. So the ratings breakdowns are as follows for this week's rating. Hour 1 was a 1.791. Hour 2 was a 1.666. Number of the beast there. Hour 3 was a 1.601. It's got to be an all-time low, or damn near close to it. But that is the hourly breakdown and the rating for Monday Night Raw. As always, you guys can go back and watch the live stream on Monday night. We killed it on Monday night, and we're going to do it again following the draft this coming Monday. Now, the show was headlined by Drew McIntyre and the Street Profits against Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, and Bobby Roode. Who gives a shit? Honestly, who gives a flying fuck about Monday Night Raw? If you legitimately go and reach into the trash bin 4 weeks ago and pull out the script, that's exactly what you got on Monday Night Raw. It's nothing more than a fucking rerun. And WWE going into that, they had football, they didn't give a fuck. They knew that the draft was coming up on Friday, so they legitimately had no choice but to give you reruns and rematches on Monday night because they had nothing new to offer you. And they're hoping with the draft things kind of change come this coming Monday. But the one big story coming out of Monday was Mustafa Ali being the leader of Retribution. And I use the term leader very loosely. WWE threw a real swerve at the fans this week when Mustafa Ali was revealed as the leader of Retribution. And how long was WWE planning this? A lot of people actually thought, and I kind of tied it together. It's got some similarities. I'm not saying WWE just canceled one and kind of merged it with another. But WWE had the hacker storyline on SmackDown. And WWE had Mustafa Ali pegged to be the hacker on SmackDown. Now, we didn't really get anything as far as the hacker following the Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville split with Otis. Dolph Ziggler was involved in that. It seemingly ended right before WrestleMania. We haven't seen it since. Ali was a rumored name. Chad Gable being in cahoots with Ali was another rumored name. It could have been more than one hacker. Gable was rumored to be working with Ali. Some people thought it was Xavier Woods. The hacker, when he coded, or decoded his voice, I should say, it ended up being Xavier Woods and Ali using some of the voiceovers for the hacker in the promos. This was actually uncovered via Reddit. And people on social media did the investigative work to kind of uncover who was the hacker and what WWE was doing and who was the promo. WWE was disguising their voice. So it looks like they merged both storylines. But is that the case? Could be. Similarities are very prevalent. They're there. So Ringside News exclusively reported that Mustafa Ali was the SmackDown mystery hacker, and they detailed how the angle broke down backstage. Now, Ali now is being followed by all Retribution members on social media. Apparently, as of right now, he is their leader. But this decision wasn't a long-term plan at all. Vince McMahon created this stable on a random whim. This was not a plan. Retribution was never a plan. It was something that was coming up in creative meetings on the very week it was launched. WWE wanted to bring some interest to the product. SmackDown and Raw ratings were absolutely at the worst they've ever been. So WWE, with them, they feel like, we are woven into the fabric of society and blah, blah, blah. We want to give you guys programming during the pandemic because we want you to take all of that you're worried about and leave it at the door. Just kind of get lost in what we're doing for you. And WWE creates this Antifa-like group. And they come destroying the PC, and they're overthrowing the WWE, and they're overthrowing management, and it's just real life kind of rearing its ugly head all over again. And everything that WWE said was nothing more than a crock of shit. Obviously, we've seen the group mold and change differently over the weeks following that initial debut. But it wasn't something that was planned. It was merely put together because WWE was absolutely desperate for some sort of attention to generate interest for a declining product in the ratings. They didn't know what to do. They had nobody planned for this group. Nobody was thought out to be in the group. Nobody was thought out to be the leader. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Then all of a sudden we get Mustafa Ali on Monday night. As of right now, he's their leader. But this was not a long-term decision. It was not a long-term plan. Ringside News has learned that Mustafa Ali was decided as the leader of Retribution 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. So just like I said on Monday Night Raw, if you expect Mustafa Ali in this Retribution group, if you expected this to be some long, drawn-out plan by WWE, you have another thing coming. This was planned 2 weeks ago. Why was it planned 2 weeks ago? I have no idea. Did WWE realize that they have nothing going on with Mustafa Ali and they want to use him and this is the best role for him? Possibly. Does Mustafa Ali have every given reason to want to be a part of a group like Retribution and what they stand for? Absolutely. Did WWE think back? Did they possibly think back to the hacker gimmick and see the similarities there? And they wanted to put Mustafa Ali in this and kind of mold both of those storylines together and make them as one. Possibly. Did they look at Mustafa Ali's mask and think, well, this guy wears a mask. These 5 guys wear a mask. Why don't we put him with these guys? Possibly. Possibly. I don't know. But the decision was made about 2 weeks ago. This places that decision right before or directly after Retribution debuted new names and a new look on Monday Night Raw. And even then, I don't think WWE was sold on the idea of Mustafa Ali in Retribution then either. Now, also, this new direction for Ali has nothing to do with the abandoned SmackDown mystery hacker angle, but you can assume, that there are similarities. Ringside News is saying that this is nothing to do with the abandoned SmackDown hacker. If you want to go and think that, then by all means, you can definitely think that all you want. They're saying that it has nothing to do with the SmackDown mystery angle, and that angle was dropped way back when. Now, Mercedes Martinez is removed from Retribution. I talked about this on the extra that I did this week. She was pulled from Retribution. They actually put her back in NXT. So Triple H has another female that he has at his disposal to make that division the way it needs to be. Mia Yim is still a part of Retribution, apparently. She's still going off on social media. But Mercedes Martinez, she dodged the bullet here. This could have been a career killer for Mercedes Martinez, and somebody probably had a better head here. Triple H probably stepped in and said, listen, I just gave this woman a brand new look, a brand new entrance. We came up with brand new theme music for her. We gave her a whole new package and presentation, and you just want to pull her from NXT. Nobody knows anything about her. She barely got her feet wet in NXT, and you want to put her on the main roster with basically nothing about her known to the fans. That could be said for everybody in Retribution. But Mercedes Martinez, I honestly think she would succeed more in NXT than she would on the main roster. There's nothing happening there with her. Same thing goes for Mia Yim. Same thing goes for Dominik Dijakovic. I don't know what they have planned for Retribution. But Mercedes Martinez is now back in NXT. Mia Yim, who knows where she ends up. WWE might get rid of her in the near future as well. They were both not a part of this week's angle. Nobody ever talks about why someone isn't available unless it's for a particular injury. If somebody's off TV, it's either an injury or COVID. So we don't know what happened with Mia Yim, but Mercedes Martinez, it's been confirmed that she is now back down in NXT. Is Mustafa Ali the real leader of Retribution? Do you guys think Mustafa Ali is the real leader of Retribution? I want to say yes. But it could be a situation where Ali is not the leader of Retribution. And I want you guys to think about this for a second. We have all these men in Retribution. We got Slapjack, Shane Thorne, Dio Madden, Mace, Dominik Dijakovic, Teabag, and now we got Ali. I don't know if Ali's going to change his name. I don't know if Ali's going to be given one of these dumb WWE names that fits the group now. I hope not. I think Mustafa Ali is a powerful name. I hope that he says something on Monday and gives us an explanation as to why. I feel like we deserve that. Hopefully WWE does that. I would like to think they have that plan, but who knows with Bruce. But we have 4 men. We have 4 men in Retribution now, plus Mia Yim. Mia Yim is not going to be a part of the Survivor Series team. Apparently the rumor is that Survivor Series is coming and that they will be a part of a big Survivor Series main event match. Who that happens with, I don't know. It might be the Hurt Business. It might be WWE talents on the main roster side. Some big names taking down Retribution. MVP just recently said that he is interested in adding a female to the Hurt Business. Who that might be, I have no idea. In fact, listen, if Mercedes Martinez is being removed from Retribution and they're still wanting to use her on the main roster, I could absolutely see Mercedes Martinez fitting into the Hurt Business more so than any Retribution stable. So if Mercedes Martinez was pulled and nobody knew about her from Retribution, it would look ridiculous. If they pull her from Retribution and put her in the Hurt Business, it actually might be beneficial more for her to be in the Hurt Business because she's around people that are just like her. She's around guys like Bobby Lashley. They're very similar. She's a monster. She's a legit threat. And MVP wanted to add a female to the Hurt Business. Now, will that happen before the Survivor Series? I have no idea. Do we get Hurt Business, 4 men and 1 female, versus Retribution, 4 males and 1 female? I don't know. That's a possibility. But normally Survivor Series isn't a mixed tag match. Survivor Series is 5 men on one side versus 5 men on the other. And Retribution right now has 4. Hurt Business has 4. Will they be doing the 4 versus 4? Or is WWE going to go and continue doing the traditional 5 versus 5 that they've been doing for so many years? And if that's the case, who else is going to be added to Retribution? Is Mustafa Ali at the end of the day, the leader of Retribution? We don't know. We don't know. We thought Dijakovic was the leader, but Ali was apparently the one that he was answering to. So who else could there be as far as joining Retribution? Is somebody else pulling the strings as far as Retribution goes? A lot of people have tied in Samoa Joe to be the leader of Retribution. He's been on commentary. WWE has no plans for him at the moment. WWE's kind of dropped the ball with him as well. He's got a reason to be in Retribution as well. He said his career is far from over. So why not Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe could absolutely be in Retribution and be the leader of Retribution. I could see Samoa Joe leading that group for sure. And if Samoa Joe is leading that group, man, oh man, does their stock rise from being bottom of the barrel nothing to having Samoa Joe as your leader, man. You can't ask for a better mouthpiece than that. Maybe it's somebody like a Ricochet. Maybe Ricochet joins Ali and realizes, hey, you know what? WWE's fucked me over. He's got more of a reason than anybody just like Ali to join Retribution. Maybe he joins Retribution and he's the 5th guy. There's a lot of people that could be that 5th man in Retribution. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody replacing Ali as the leader. I don't necessarily see Ali as the leader, but I also don't want to take that spot away from him because we don't know how he's going to act. We don't know how he's going to speak. Samoa Joe could be the guy. Ricochet could be the guy. Could be anybody. Chad Gable. Any one of these guys could fit into Retribution. So we will see what happens, but I don't know if WWE has any plans with Retribution moving forward. All I know is, and I predicted this on Monday, and I obviously am right here, WWE had no plans for Ali to be the leader of Retribution, and the plan for it came about 2 weeks ago. Legitimately 2 weeks ago. So that's the way WWE operates, and it's sad to see. I hope now, with him as the leader, they do have some sort of direction. And I'm very interested to see what he does moving forward in that group and what he does on Monday Night Raw. WWE's thinking about offering Aaliyah Mysterio a full-time performer contract. I don't know why. But this is what the report says. Now, this is coming from WrestlingNews.co. Don't be surprised if Vince offers her a full-time contract. He sees potential star power in her. You will see her in multiple segments on shows going forward. End quote. That is coming from WrestlingNews.co and a source that they know in WWE. That same source explained that she's got a great attitude backstage, which is going a long way, and that she's a sponge for the work, and she is improving. They note she is eager to learn, and if she wants to pursue a career here or anywhere in the entertainment world, then I think she will be successful. End quote. Now, obviously, with Aaliyah Mysterio, she is in this storyline with Buddy Murphy, Seth Rollins, and the Mysterio family. One person believes that Vince has struck gold, and according to reports, he is a huge fan of her work, and he is ready to offer her a larger role on Monday Night Raw. He's also been very pleased with the work Dominic Mysterio has been doing, so he's getting a 2-for-1 here with Aaliyah and Dominic, the daughter and son of Rey Mysterio. Now, I don't really understand her getting a full-time contract. What is the point of giving her a full-time contract? What is the logic behind giving her a full-time contract? To me, it would be nothing more than a waste of money. I feel like after this storyline is over, there really isn't anything more for her to do there. Does she want to be a professional wrestler? Does she want to carry on the Mysterio name in the women's division? We don't know of any news that she's training to be a pro wrestler. Maybe she wants to be a pro wrestler. She's only 19 years old. We don't know yet. Is she going to be a pro wrestler? What is she going to do on TV if she's not wrestling? Is she going to be a manager for Dominic? Is she going to be a backstage correspondent? Is she going to be an interviewer? Is she going to be part of the commentary team? What is she going to do on WWE television that Vince wants to add her as a full-time performer on Monday Night Raw? I don't know. Feels like this storyline's going on forever, so he might as well give her a fucking full-time contract. I just don't see that as being a logical thing to do. Seems like WWE, seems like Vince McMahon has, the sparkly eyes when he looks at Aaliyah Mysterio. Get your mind out of the gutter, bro. She's only 19 years old. She's doing a good job in the role she's given now. I just don't know what else she could do when this storyline inevitably comes to an end. I just find that to be just a waste of money. Seriously. Mickie James, injured. She's out for a couple of weeks again. Mickie James was on a podcast with SoCal Val and Victoria, former WWE star Lisa Marie Varon, and she revealed that she suffered a broken nose, Mickie James. James noted that she would be out of action for several weeks. Her last match was against Zelina Vega on September 21st. That was on Raw. Prior to that match is when she wrestled Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. That is the match that ended awkwardly because WWE management told the referee to call an audible because of their belief that she was out on her feet. James says, and I quote, "I had my nose broken recently in a match. We don't know if it was against Asuka or Zelina Vega. Had my nose broken recently in a match, so I can't wrestle for a few weeks. What had happened was, after the swelling went down, I noticed that this whole side of my nose was completely caved in. I go to the doctor and he says, I broke my nose," end quote. James says her cartilage was dislocated away from her nasal cavity and it had to be relocated. So I wish her a speedy recovery. WWE has done nothing with Mickie James since they've brought her back to television, and this might be a reason why she went undrafted, because she's going to be out for several weeks. A broken nose could probably keep you out for at least 2 months, right? 2-3 months, I'm assuming. And WWE did not draft her to any brand. She was one of the 4 names with Chad Gable, Grand Metalik, and Lindsay Dorado that were not drafted on night 1. She's a free agent. So WWE might be holding her off as far as putting her on a brand because of said injury, so she's going to remain in that free agent pool until she is eligible to come back to work and is cleared to wrestle. So she's going to be out for several weeks with a broken nose. And if you wondered why WWE didn't go back to Asuka versus Mickie James and why they went with Zelina Vega, that's also a possible reason there why they went with Zelina Vega. Bobby Roode, he's back on WWE television. Bobby Roode explains what kept him off WWE TV for so long. A lot of people thought it was the travel restrictions from Canada to the United States. And if you said that, you were absolutely correct. He says, while speaking to TV Insider, Bobby Roode opened up about his hiatus from WWE. This was all pandemic related. He wasn't sick or injured. he simply couldn't cross the border. This was a tough time for Bobby Roode to sit at home and reflect, but it also gave him the passion to anticipate a return to being a pro wrestler. He says, and I quote, "I had a lot of free time on my hands. The travel made it difficult for me to get back to work every week, so I've been nothing more than a fan. I've been sitting at home on my couch, watching WWE Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, catching some NXT here and there. It was a long layoff, around 7 months. There was a lot of downtime to heal up physically and mentally, and a lot of just waiting around to get back to work. Thankfully, the last couple of weeks was my opportunity. It was very different. I've been in this business for more than 20 years. This is the longest period of time that I've been off and at home. When your lifestyle is like this for 15, 20 years, it's a hard adjustment. In a way, it was enjoyable to not live out of a suitcase and get to spend time with my family. But the circumstances were different this time with the pandemic and being forced to stay home. It wasn't because of injury. The first couple of months, I definitely missed doing what I was doing every week. This business is in my blood. It's a passion. You miss the camaraderie, the schedule, and the life on the road. In a weird way, I'm happy to be back." End quote. Bobby Roode is back. It was anything but glorious when they brought him back. He went to challenge Drew McIntyre in a WWE Championship match. He lost, and now he's back teaming with Dolph Ziggler, right back to where he was before he was actually gone away and kept off TV because of the pandemic. So they put him right back in the role that he was in before he went away. And I was under the assumption that Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler were going to be the next tag team because they're heels to challenge for the tag team championships, because all signs pointed to that in the main event of Monday Night Raw when Bobby Roode teamed up with Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton against Drew McIntyre and the Street Profits. So I was assuming that the Street Profits were going to go up against Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler for the tag team titles because there are no other tag teams, and they are a heel team, and the Street Profits are a babyface team. So we don't know where the Street Profits are going to end up, if they're going to stay on Monday Night Raw, if they're going to get drafted to SmackDown with the Raw tag team titles. We don't know. All in all, I just hope that there's a unification of the tag team titles at some point in the next month. Seriously, I think it would benefit every single tag team in that division. I really do. It would benefit the division. It would benefit the shows on Monday and Friday to have floating champions. So that's what I like. But Bobby Roode right back to where he was, more than likely going to be challenging for the tag team titles at some point with Dolph Ziggler. Bobby Roode had the best run of his WWE life in NXT, and they quickly killed that. They had a top-level heel in the making with that version of Bobby Roode, and they wasted it. They turned him heel because Vince McMahon thought his theme music was too over as far as a fan reaction-like theme goes. He thought the fans chanting and singing along to his theme made him a babyface. So that's Vince McMahon for you. The man is completely out of touch. I would have kept him a heel. NXT had no problem keeping him a heel with that theme music. People chanted and sang along to their heart's content. And he acted like the biggest prick in all of WWE, man. Really. They fucked him up and he never recovered. I wish we'd get that Bobby Roode back, but I think that ship has obviously sailed. Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's contract is set to expire in a few months, and she was actually back training with Natalya. According to TMZ, a statement from WWE after Ronda Rousey's hiatus started indicated that her contract is up in 6 months. That would make April 2021 when Ronda Rousey is no longer contracted to the WWE. Now, it is possible that WWE could bring Rousey back for a run through WrestleMania. Ringside News exclusively reported in July that WrestleMania 37 plans no longer include SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. They are actually going back to Raymond James Stadium for WrestleMania 37. The mindset now is WrestleMania will go to Tampa because they lost it this year amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Now, Ronda Rousey was recently spotted training with Roddy Piper's daughter, Teal. She also made an appearance on AEW television. So we'll have to see if that was her getting her ring rust in shape or whether Ronda Rousey was just having some fun. Natalya then recently teased she was training with a mystery person as well, which Ronda spoiled it was indeed her. She tweeted on social media or Instagrammed on Instagram. I don't know which one it was. But she said on social media, finished a wrestling practice in our ring. TJ Wilson ran our practice with Dr. Tom Pritchard in the middle of the drills. Forgot how much I hate those drills. So much fun. Wish I could tell you who I trained with. WWE hasn't been able to run a show in front of a live crowd since mid-March. The organic pop from fans is something that they certainly want if they're bringing back someone like Ronda Rousey to the women's division. So that's that. Ronda Rousey, listen, if Ronda Rousey comes back to the WWE, there is legitimately only one match that I care about, and that is a one-on-one match with Becky Lynch. And that is it. Knowing WWE, they'll probably do Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair, because we don't know if Becky Lynch is going to be back and ready to get in ring shape for WrestleMania. So we may be looking at that possibly never happening. But if Ronda Rousey comes back, I absolutely think Charlotte's going to be back in time for WrestleMania. She may be back sometime later this year. So Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey, if that is the one match that WWE is going for, I couldn't give a shit at all. We've seen that once already. We've seen that in the main event of WrestleMania 35. I don't care. Imagine WWE bringing Ronda Rousey back to feed her to Charlotte Flair and give Charlotte Flair that win over Ronda Rousey. That's all we need. That doesn't interest anybody whatsoever. I've said this time and time again. I don't even think Ronda Rousey is needed in the WWE anymore. She did her thing and WWE wasted it. What would they be doing if they bring Ronda Rousey back this time? You didn't do anything with her the first fucking time. She laid the foundation after what she did in that division and brought the division to where it needed to be. They were outperforming the fucking men. And now you want Ronda Rousey back for what? You squandered everything she did the first time. What the fuck are you going to do with her the second time? I find this to be an absolute waste of everybody's time. WWE wasted everything Ronda Rousey did. Everything. I don't think she's needed. You got all these women on the roster that you're not using, and you want to bring in Ronda Rousey to take another position away from somebody that you called up from NXT that you're not using? Give me a break. I don't think anybody in that division can stand toe-to-toe with Ronda Rousey. Honestly, and be legit. Ronda Rousey versus who is going to be a legitimate match? We've seen Becky, we've seen Charlotte, we've seen Sasha. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we've seen Nia and Alexa Bliss. Maybe Bianca Belair. I'd like to see that. Is WWE going to bring Ronda Rousey for Bianca Belair? I don't think so. They're probably bringing her back for Charlotte. And that's it. Ronda Rousey, to me, honestly, her addition to the women's division is not needed whatsoever. Moving on to some NXT news, man. We got a lot of NXT news. Backstage frustration during this week's NXT broadcast. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that things got a little hectic backstage at this week's NXT show. It was noted that there has been a lot of change, frustration, and uncertainty backstage in NXT as of late. It was added that there were several technical difficulties and errors at the show that led to a series of frustrations among those at the production table backstage. WWE was in a rough position due to the number of injuries that happened in the last few days. NXT right now is floating up Schitt's Creek with the amount of injuries. Ridge Holland suffered an injury that resulted him in getting surgery the very next day. Finn Balor broke his jaw in 2 places. Kyle O'Reilly is out with a speculated concussion. And Jericho even highlighted, Chris Jericho highlighted that Dynamite's main event pulled in double the number of viewers as NXT's final segment in the key demos. One fan wanted to get under Jericho's skin, and he replied to his tweet saying that Jericho should learn from Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly, referring to the main event at NXT TakeOver 31. Jericho, in a tweet, since it's been deleted, you guys can't see it anymore, but I got the report on it. Jericho tweeted and deleted, and he said, "Sure, let's learn from Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly how to fuck each other up during a match so that we can't work again for months." Jericho said. Balor and Riley's match was so hard-hitting that the former Kyle O'Reilly Balor broke his jaw. O'Reilly was missing a few teeth, reportedly, with a concussion as well. There's a lot of frustration backstage, man. We don't know what's happening in NXT right now. I've been saying this for months. I really don't understand what the fuck they're doing down there. I don't know why. And I thought about this after the fact. I don't know why Balor and O'Reilly needed to have such a hard-hitting match. If it was only a one-off match to get you a main event for that show, why did they need to go out there and legitimately kill each other? I understand injuries happen. I understand the physicality sometimes can, get the better of somebody. There could be a stiff shot here and there. There could be accidents in the ring. There could be accidents like Mr. Ridge Holland over there, and his entire leg collapsed underneath him. But did Balor and O'Reilly's match need to be a situation where Balor left with a broken jaw and O'Reilly left with missing teeth and a concussion? I mean, I don't think so. What is NXT trying to do? What is NXT trying to prove? Are you trying to prove that you are more legitimate than any other wrestling promotion out there? You're more legitimate than an AEW? Oh, look at our guys. Look at the main event that they had. They nearly fucking killed each other. They nearly killed each other. Half of your roster is out with injury. So what are you doing? NXT has gone so far away from doing what they used to do that I don't even recognize them anymore. They've gone so far away from what I loved that I don't even watch them on a week-to-week basis. It became, I gotta watch NXT to, I'll watch NXT when I want or when I can. When I feel like I want to watch NXT. I don't know what they're doing. So Balor is out. We don't know how long he's going to be out. O'Reilly's out. We don't know how long he's going to be out. NXT's not part of the draft because Triple H probably made a deal with Vince McMahon. Listen, I got all these injuries. You can't take any more from me. You called up about 15 fucking people this year that you haven't even used. You haven't made stars. So what more do you need from me now? I don't understand what they're doing down there. I really don't. Balor's hurt. O'Reilly's hurt. Is Cole going to stay? Is Adam Cole going to stay in NXT? I really feel like NXT might be cursed at this point. Has anybody brought up the fact that NXT might be cursed? Maybe Vince McMahon's devilish touch cursed NXT. Maybe you're getting what exactly has everybody up in arms every single week. All you do is worry about AEW. Maybe karma's finally starting to come back around and treat you like it's bitch. Maybe you should do less about worrying about what AEW is doing and worry about what everybody else is doing and worry about getting NXT back on track to being the best damn wrestling show on television. And I don't even think that's possible with the fucking pandemic going on and no fans. You'll never get back to where you need to be without the fucking fan base. NXT needs its fan base. NXT needs that live energy. But has anybody talked about NXT potentially being cursed? Keith Lee had the NXT championship. He lost it to Karrion Kross. Keith Lee got called up, or demoted, like I say, to the main roster. What is WWE done with Keith Lee? What have they done with Keith Lee on the main roster? Nothing. Keith Lee is a fucking failure on the main roster. He's been nothing more than a disappointment. I mean, for Christ's sakes, he's feuding with Braun Strowman on the main roster. That doesn't necessarily mean success on the main roster because Braun Strowman is every bit of a failure that Keith Lee is right now and has been. Karrion Kross had the NXT title. He got hurt in his match against Keith Lee. He had to relinquish the title the very next Wednesday. And then what happened to the NXT title? It went right back to Finn Balor for a second time, and now Balor is hurt with a broken jaw that could leave him out for 2 months. And you know Triple H doesn't want to take the title off Finn Balor and have it vacant again. When can we start talking about NXT and the NXT title being cursed? Karma is a bitch. If you start worry about what you got to do, then things will be better off for you. Seems like they've just sidetracked themselves and have moved away from what made them special. I can't distinguish what NXT is anymore compared to Monday night and Friday night. I can't. The names are there. I see the Garganos and the Dreams and the Kushidas and the Coles and the O'Reillys, right? The Dexter Loomises, the Damien Priests, the Bronson Reeds. I see him. But all I see is main roster level booking, and I see main roster illogical booking, and I see a show that really isn't captivating like it was 2 years ago. Give me a break. Yes, there's frustration backstage. Now you know what the fuck I'm talking about. How am I wrong when people backstage know what's going on? Ridge Holland, he's out till 2021. WWE states that Ridge Holland sustained a left ankle dislocation, a fracture, and a patella dislocation and ruptured patella tendon. For what? In a match against Oney Lorcan. Holland underwent surgery this week. It could take at least 6 weeks to heal a broken ankle, but the recovery for a patella tendon rupture can take anywhere between 6 to 12 months. Holland was in the middle of a major storyline with the Undisputed Era, and now that is canceled. Dakota Kai is also not cleared to wrestle because she's dealing with neck and back pain. Tegan Nox is out with another ACL tear to add to all the injuries that I just mentioned. Frustration? My God, is that the understatement of the fucking week? Ember Moon. Ember Moon came back at TakeOver 31. She opened NXT show on Wednesday night. Had to stare down with Io Shirai. She actually just defended the Women's Championship, did Shirai against Candice LeRae at TakeOver 31. Ember Moon spoke about how she came up with the mystery persona idea for her NXT return. She said this in an interview with Sports Illustrated, and I quote, "When I learned I was headed to NXT, the whole motorcycle package was an idea I had after watching an action movie called Hardcore Henry. The NXT creative team is absolutely amazing. They're absolutely amazing, huh? They used to be amazing, not now. And they got this massive set for me. I wanted elements of The Masked Singer so we could have clues to keep people guessing. And they were like, let's do it. There is a video game I play called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and she's a big gamer. And that game looks beautiful, by the way, where there are these two dueling voices, and you have to listen closely. And we did something similar for the surprise, which was absolutely amazing. It's nice to see Ember Moon excited again about being back in a pro wrestling ring. I feel like if you brought these ideas up to the main roster creatives, they'd be looking at her, nah, you know what, we'll put you with the Ninjas, and we'll put you with Drew Gulak, and you'll be chasing the 24/7 title again. Seriously. Give me a break. Ember Moon seems to be happy again back in NXT, and I feel like, you know, whatever she said, I love the fact that they're open to listening to creative ideas from women and men alike for certain storylines and certain returns. In this case, she brought up two ideas and they went with them. You know, I would love to know how she got the call back down to NXT and away from the main roster. I would love to know who on the main roster did not want the services of Ember Moon. I really don't understand that. That's their loss. And I said, when Ember Moon came and showed up on TakeOver 31 night, this is going to be a Finn Balor situation. Finn Balor's doing the best WWE work of his career right now with the new Finn persona. I love his attitude. And he transformed himself after the main roster fucking killed him. And now Ember Moon, the main roster killed her. And now she's back again. She was great in NXT, main roster killed her, and now she's back to resuscitate her career. So I can't wait to see what she does. I think that's a major pickup for NXT. Finn Balor, the broken jaw. Meltzer says, in regards to Balor's broken jaw, or Brian Alvarez rather, Meltzer said something along the lines of Balor suffering the jaw injury, which is true. He does have a broken jaw in two places. And he says, and I quote, I was told it's not inaccurate, but I was told it was made out to be worse than it is, whatever that means, from somebody there that told me. I mean, he's got a broken jaw, but that's what I was told. Brian Alvarez then brought up the fact how WWE mentioned that they're waiting on the swelling to go down to see the severity of the broken jaw and how much of a big deal it really is, but speculated that WWE may already know the severity, even without knowing how far the swelling has gone down. Thus, that's possibly why WWE didn't strip him of the title, because he won't be out of action for that long, such as the normal time for a broken jaw, which is around 3 months or more. So Finn Balor, he does have a broken jaw. Meltzer says it's not as bad as WWE's leading on, but Alvarez then added that it is a broken jaw. They don't know the severity of the broken jaw, but WWE may already know, and that's why they haven't stripped him of the NXT title just yet. Velveteen Dream, he went one-on-one with Kushida and got buried at the end of the match. Meltzer mentioned about the Velveteen Dream, something possibly going on with him in NXT. WWE might have written him out of NXT. With the draft coming up, we could see him in the draft pool. We don't know. I don't know of any NXT talents in the draft pool. We might be surprised on Monday. We don't know. But it also seemed like a burial of sorts, and I mentioned this when I did the review live on Sunday night. So Meltzer says this, and like, well, there's obviously something up with the Velveteen Dream, especially with the way the finish went down against Kushida. I don't know if he's going to the main roster, which would be scary because of the way he's looked the last couple of months, or they've just got some story where he's going to get destroyed, comes back, and that's the story that they're telling, or like it was so overdone with the crying and the stuff at the end, like if it were just the match and the finish they did, a little bit of the post-match, I'd be like, okay, they're phasing Velveteen Dream out. That's what you do in WWE when they're phasing somebody out. But hey, they went so far with it, I don't know what they're doing. It just felt like things got to work into some story, because you rarely see a guy get destroyed at that level and destroyed for a match like that. Like it was, he got his ass beat. He just got destroyed. You know that they might be giving Kushida a little bit of a push because he's talented, of course, but this was more of a burial of the Velveteen Dream than a push of Kushida. It was such a burial of Dream that I'm wondering where he goes next and what they do with him next, end quote. I don't know. I don't really know. A lot of people think the Velveteen Dream shouldn't even been back on television, so WWE might be taking him off television for the foreseeable future for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he showed... I didn't watch NXT. Maybe he showed up again on Wednesday. I think he showed up on Wednesday, and they got into it again. So I don't know what they're doing with the Velveteen Dream, but it seems like they're pushing Kushida, which is all I fucking care about, because that's a long time coming for a guy like that. A guy as talented as Kushida. So Velveteen Dream, I have no idea. His stock is fucking non-existent right now in NXT. He was so over and so great. And I feel like after everything that was Velveteen Dream with the speaking out movement and him coming back and him changing his look to fit the vibe and the mood of whatever he's going through right now, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not. And the thing is, he's so young enough that I hope he pulls himself out of it, but I just don't even know. I really don't even know. And finally, guys, NXT has big plans for Damien Priest. Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer went into some discussion about Damien Priest after his match with Johnny Gargano. Since WWE has such big things in store for Priest, it does seem as though Johnny Gargano was playing a part to get him to the next level on NXT TV. They see Priest as someone with a lot of potential, and Gargano was a setup guy to get him there. The match was exactly what it was designed to be. Gargano made him look good and put him over in the end. Priest has something. He's got the voice. He's got everything that they want. Right now, in my eyes, they're doing everything right with Damien Priest. I think he's got a great look. He's got a great promo, in my eyes. And he's athletic for a big guy like that. Some of the things that he does in the ring is very impressive, man. He's got a lot that the main roster would love. Now, I don't want to see him on the main roster because I don't think they do him justice at all. So right now, Damien Priest is in a right role. Took a little bit of a time to get him there. He had to be patient with it because there were obviously guys ahead of him, right? Keith Lee was there. Dominik Dijakovic was there. Pete Dunne was there when he was there, right? So all those guys, now Dunne hasn't been on TV for forever. Keith Lee got demoted. Dominik Dijakovic got demoted. So Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, with their demotions to the main roster, Damien Priest, he kind of just moved up the ladder slowly but surely with everybody kind of being pulled from NXT, and he reaped the benefits of that. a little bit of patience goes a long way in NXT. And his match with Finn Balor at TakeOver in Your House was fantastic. If that was in front of a full crowd, people would have ate that shit up. His match with Johnny Gargano was very good. And I think Damien Priest he's doing his thing right now. You know, they got him where they want. You see that they got big plans for him. He's the North American champion. Everybody thought Gargano was going to win. I thought Gargano was going to win because I thought they were going to go with the power couple of Gargano and LeRae. But they got Priest. Johnny Gargano is bulletproof at this point, so he can take a loss, and they might as well use his bulletproofness to build up Damien Priest. Gargano's always going to be there. So why not get Damien Priest at that same level? Guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you as far as the podcast goes. We are going to get out of here, but we're going to hang out a little bit, and we're going to do some super chats. If you guys want to hang around for a little bit, I would love if you hang around. Hit that thumbs up, man. We are almost at 1,712 likes in the chat right now. Let's try and get it as close to 1,000 as possible, man. I would love that. Super chats are open if you want to get them on in. You can definitely do so. Gino with a $9.99 super chat. Love the channel, man. Been watching. Watching mean comments. And man, you gotta bring that back. Hashtag McChicken. Hashtag honest YouTube is God. Hashtag only a joke. Don't bench me. Man, I wish I could bring stuff like that back. YouTube would flag me in an instant, bro. YouTube would flag me in an instant. Manny P, what's up, brother? $5 super chat. I love the sofa behind you. Plus, may the reign of the champ of the IWC continue forever. Continue doing God's work. Tribal Chief JD. Yeah, man. That was actually an old couch that I had out in my other room. I moved it in here because I got a brand new sectional in my living room right now. So I'm glad that you guys like it in the background, man. It looks nice. Fills out the room nicely. Noodles the GOAT, $5 super chat. How does it feel to be the biggest heel in the IWC? That has got to be the best feeling ever. Keep up the good work, brother. I love it. I love the fact that everybody fucking hates me, man. Everybody won't work with me because they're afraid of me. I love it. Meanwhile, you go live on YouTube in the IWC and look who's number one every single show. Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, SmackDown. Who is it? Fightful? Wrestling Inc? No DQ? No IQ? Sean's View? Cronin? Who? Who is it? Me. Wrestle Geeks? I beat them when they're live. And they got fucking 8 times more subscribers than I do. What does that say? Oman Productions, $5 super chat. JD, thanks for all you do. Watching since first deployed in 2016. Got me through some tough times. If you ever need a writer, hit me up. Shout out to Beaver Dunn. Oman, appreciate you, bro. I'm going to be here as long as you need me, brother. Hope you're well. JP5150, $10 super chat. I don't expect anything less than absolute failure for the draft night 2. Good looking out for the OTS Source of Truth podcast. Enjoying my special blended pumpkin spice coffee. Better than Starbucks. LOL. Bro, I'm telling you, Starbucks got that pumpkin cream cold brew. Bro, please do not sleep on that. If I could have at least 4 a day, I would. Seriously. They're just so fucking expensive. Marius Kozak with a $5 super chat. Vince No Plan McMahon and Bruce Logic Gap Pritchard ruined Money in the Bank. Otis needs to drop the briefcase in a match like Mr. Kennedy did to Edge in 2007. I wish. But they broke up Otis and Tucker, man. What a bunch of fucking clowns, really. What a bunch of fucking idiots. Dr. 12 Cam with a $19.99 donation. I've been watching you for 2 years now, and I'm turning 19 tomorrow, and I do not plan on watching Raw. Keep up the good work. Brother, thank you for the $20. Don't watch Raw. I got you covered. Tomorrow night, 11:15 p.m., I'll be live right here. That's Eastern Standard Time, by the way. Too Smooth with a $5 donation. Same old WWE JD. At least you have the NLCS to look forward to on Tuesday. Go Braves, man. And Kevin Wedderburn became a new member of the podcast and the channel right here, man. Awesome. Thank you so very much, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. I'm getting out of here. But I am not done streaming. I am not done streaming, man. It is 7:03. Come 7:30, I'll be on Twitch for the rest of the night. It's the final night for the Black Ops Cold War beta. So if you guys are into that video game thing, man, hop on Twitch with me at 7:30. We're going to be raging, playing some Call of Duty, man. I got to get some dinner in me first. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/JD from New York. Link is down in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed this live episode of Off the Script. It should be pushed out to the feed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, and Amazon Podcasts immediately. So you guys can check that out whenever you want. Man, hit that thumbs up, bro. We got another 250 likes to hit 1,000. I would love it. Let's do that, man. I know there's some geeks in this chat that haven't hit the thumbs up yet. I don't know why. Let's do it. I would appreciate it. Hopefully we hit 119,000 subscribers. That would be fantastic, man. How close did we come? Did we get any closer? Yes, we did, man. We're 12. 12 away from 119,000 subscribers on YouTube. Hopefully we get there before we hit Monday Night Raw tomorrow, which I think we should. I think we should, man. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. I'll be tweeting during night 2 of the draft. Follow me on there. Follow me on Instagram, same at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications, hit the thumbs up. Support the show, Ridge.com. Thank you to the Ridge for being a proud sponsor of the podcast. Ridge.com/script. Code SCRIPT at checkout. Go and get yourself a nice gift. Get your dad a gift. Holidays are coming up. Makes a great gift for the holiday season. Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. Go and get your black face coverings. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And go and get your t-shirts, man. Bonfire.com. The exclusive home of JD from New York. Guys, I'll be on Twitch in about 25 minutes. Hopefully, I see you over there. I'm hopping in the Mustang. I'm rolling the windows down. I'm turning the volume up on the stereo to full max blast. You know when I hear that guitar solo, and you hear that guitar solo, I'm getting the fuck out of here, man. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so very much, and I'll see you on Monday Night Raw.